It asks people to move off this land and to go and access a 40-bed shelter that is located on Yates Street. We believe this is an effort to hide homelessness and not solve it. We're here to speak out against the displacement of the super intense city residents, to say that not one size fits all, and to also say that the solutions are here in the tent city. The provincial government needs to come and work with the members of the tent city to find lasting, sustainable, meaningful solutions to end the housing crisis in Victoria. I'm going to ask that the media please listen to our 4 speakers. They'll speak briefly, and then there'll be an opportunity for questions. Thank you very much for being here.
Can we get your name, please?
Sorry?
Can we get your name,
Yeah,
please?
my name is Ashley Mollison, and I'm a supporter of Super Intensity. The first person that we're going to hear from today is CJ, and he's going to talk about why the shelter is not the solution to homelessness.
Talking stick. It's a really powerful thing, the talking stick. Gives a giant circle of people a whole bunch of ears in only 1 minute. You've been learning to communicate with the talking stick. If you look around, you'll notice the tent city's kind of grown in the last few weeks. A week ago, a shelter's opened up. They're at about half capacity now. They're going to take probably about 16, 18 more people. And that's going to take a tiny little nibble out of this community and leave a whole bunch of people with no really viable solution. Is the number being thrown around $400,000? Because we did some math and that's messed up. For $400,000, I think we could have came up with something a lot more permanent and a lot more viable than a 4-month shelter. A 4-month shelter doesn't address anything. We could have taken some of that money, as I've been saying, and put it into the already existing facilities in the city, increased their caseloads, and taken a whole bunch of money and put it onto housing. We haven't done that. And in 4 months, we're still going to have a housing crisis.
Yeah, that's right.
So what is the province prepared to say about that? And where do these people go if you come in with bulldozers and cops and sheriffs and stuff? What happens? Because we built something pretty awesome and we did it without $500,000, as I've said before. And I think with a little help, a little more help, maybe from the government, the community's been so supportive. A little help from the government and those who are out there to help us, and maybe we could build something. Might as well.
Yes. Thank you. And now we're going to hear from Anna, Tent City resident, who says hands off the tent city until we get real solutions to homelessness.
Thank you. So welcome to Intensity, and I'd like to thank our patient neighbors and our many supporters who've been very generous with their time and efforts and everything, and that we are still here out of necessity, and is a testament that we don't find what the current programs suitable to our needs are, and we're far too many for them anyways. So, for example, you'll find a more true representation of the females among the group, just due to the safety of being in a group. We can resolve our own issues more effectively when there's more of us, and we can deal with them fairly and take into account each other, everyone's capabilities and downfalls, or for instance, invisible disabilities. When we become known, we are better prepared to deal with those than anybody else is, because the staff and the police and anywhere, they don't really have, nobody is prepared for the level of problems that we are finding ourselves with today at all. And you know, it being in this group setting, we had, yes, there were many overdoses over Christmas, but we only had 1 fatality here. We should have 0, in my mind. That would be great. So, let's see here.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you so much, Anna. And next we're going to hear from Kelly Newhook, who's the Executive Director from TAPS. She's going to talk about what the government needs to do to end homelessness, and that displacement is not the answer.
Thanks, Ashley. So, as the Executive Director of Together Against Poverty Society, I'm here to speak to the context of how we got here, how inaction and a seemingly callous disregard for people living in poverty by both the federal and provincial governments has created a situation where we have begun to take homelessness for granted, and that we have people living in substandard housing, and that's okay. As many of you know, but it is worth repeating, income assistance rates, which includes disability rates, have not increased in the province of British Columbia since 2007.
Yes, that's right.
This province provides a meager $375 per month toward rent in a community where the average bachelor apartment rents for double that amount at $749. This creates homelessness. The province has promoted its use of rent supplements as a means to alleviate homelessness. However, the City of Victoria has a 0.6 vacancy rate. This means that people with good-paying jobs, a clean credit history, and references are struggling to get into private market rentals. To mislead the public to believe that rent supplements will alleviate homelessness is disingenuous at the least. Rent supplements will do very little to stop the systemic nature of homelessness in British Columbia. Further, the province provides no meaningful rent controls and has a poor record of enforcing basic tenant rights. Since 2004, the legislated allowable rent increase, the ARI, has given private market landlords the ability to raise rents by 47.9%. This rise in rents occurred over a period with almost no increase in welfare rates. These kinds of policy prescriptions clearly threaten low-income people's ability to maintain stable housing. Simply put, no meaningful rent control creates homelessness. If the province chose to, it could reverse this approach. It is not necessary to legislate poverty and homelessness, and the solutions are not unknown. In fact, the solutions have been studied, costed, and presented to government numerous times. Did you know that BC is now the only province in all of Canada that does not have a poverty reduction plan? If this does not demonstrate a callous disregard for the needs of people living in poverty, I don't know what does. Increase welfare rates, provide meaningful rent protections, and invest in social housing now. And please don't tell us it can't be done, especially when this past July, the province posted an unanticipated surplus of $1.68 billion. Spend this money where it is needed, on our most vulnerable citizens. Make BC a more equitable place to live. In building social housing and listening to the needs of the people in super intense city and those currently forced to live in shelters across British Columbia, we can end the desperation that has been created and perpetuated for far too long. At this moment, in terms of the rights of the people living in super intense city, the choice to do something rests largely with the provincial government. If that choice is to issue an injunction to remove the members of this tent city, then that decision will contravene the charter rights of those sheltering here. If the choice is to continue to permit this community to exist while entering into meaningful conversation with the people of super intense city and designing a solution, then let us begin that conversation. The Adams case and others subsequent to it have made it clear that when appropriate shelter is not available to the homeless, they must be able to create it for themselves. If we have to go back to the courts to protect the rights of the homeless, we will, but it would seem indisputable that government's resources are better spent elsewhere. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. Now we're going to hear from Nicholas Joel. He's going to talk about how the tent city represents community and safety in the absence of affordable and appropriate housing.
Brought my sign. It says, "In tent city is my home." It's kind of a surprising thing for a man to call a tent on a lot his home, but it's more than just a tent somewhere. All these people have set up their shelters, and the reasoning is a lot of the solutions already offered to us that we do know about just don't fit a lot of these individuals. Some people are happy outside, Some people don't like the rules and regulations put down by shelters. Some people don't like the health risks that shelters do present. A lot of crowded people in one position, one place, doesn't exactly make it the most safe place to be. We pointed that out to the province initially before they even gave us this temporary shelter, that we needed a multi-tool to help fix this. This is a multifaceted problem. And more importantly, Intent City puts us all together and provides us with a community. Together, we can keep an eye on each other, we can cover each other's weaknesses, and let our strengths grow, so we become something more than just the individuals. What happens to one person if they get injured out on the streets? That person has to take care of themselves. If someone twists an ankle over here, he's got all of his neighbors to come to him, to come and try and help him out. We've got each other's backs here, and I think that's an important note of Intent City.
Good job.
Thanks, Nicholas.
Yeah.
We know that homelessness represents the tip of the visible homeless here at Tent City represents the tip of the iceberg when it comes to homelessness in BC. So we know that this is not counting the close to 40,000 people in BC that are living with their family and friends, living in cars, living in other places unfit for human habitation. We know it doesn't also represent the 65,000 people in BC that are at risk of homelessness.
That's right.
So what we're asking here today is that the government work with the members of Super Intent City to find meaningful solutions to homelessness that are sustainable, that are long-term, and not displace this Tent City and put people back into the parks and put people back into doorways.
That's right.
Thank you for being here, and now we'll answer questions.
Yeah.
It sounds like the government's starting a slow eviction process here. What are you guys going to do if that starts to happen?
Well, as I mentioned, we do have TAPS has engaged the services of a lawyer to help deal with that if that does come to fruition. And we are prepared to take that to court, right? That's what we don't, as I mentioned, we don't want to, but that's what we would do.
Yeah, we know that people here have the constitutional right to erect shelter in the absence of shelter.
That's right.
So we know we don't have enough in Victoria, we don't have enough in BC, and so this through the courts is not something that we want to pursue, but if necessary, it's something that we're prepared to do.
How do you get the money to fight this in court?
Most of that would be done pro bono, yeah. And we would also look to the community for community financial support as well. But yeah, we have people lawyers and that work with the law that feel very passionate about the rights of people to erect shelter and to not have to move along every day. It's not in the best interest of anyone, and especially people's health.
How long do you expect to be here?
Until they solve the problem.
Yeah.
As long as it takes. As long as we want.
That's right. Under the Constitution, they can't take you away.
So, do the people here typically, do you want to stay here? Do you want another plot of land somewhere else?
Well, we want to be visible, because out in the street alone, you're invisible.
That's right.
Everybody walks through you. They don't have any time for homelessness or the people in need. Here together, we're visible, and that's a big meaning, because you see this thing, solution. We are part of the solution. You see the big diverse group of people here. We have a diverse amount of occupations that we've done for so long. We're capable of helping building a micro little city for all of us in different sections of town if need be. Yeah. All we need is money. All we need maybe is a little bit of supervision. But we have it all here. Yes. Why be invisible? Let's be visible. We need this for the people. I'm sorry, I didn't have to say. John LaFrance, and I do this too, right? I just outburst of music, outburst of laughter, outburst of what is meaningful.
Sorry, your name? You want to give them a name?
John LaFrance.
LaFrance, how you spell that?
L-A-F. Viva la France. Viva la Viva la Tent City. We are visible here. Can we? All groups of people.
Solutions for you guys. I understand not everyone here was interested in going to the shelter on Yates and then or other shelters around. What would be some meaningful solutions for you?